Good morning, everyone. We are Team 9. My name is Sarah Ben-Beatty, and today I'm joined by Saif, Michael, Zui, and Caroline to talk about something that many of us as MBA students consider an essential part to this program, networking. We asked all of you to describe networking in one word, and this is what you guys came up with. Now, although it can be exciting and fun, the process can also feel quite challenging. It's not about simply attending events or building your LinkedIn profile. It's about reaching out to the right people, navigating those sometimes awkward coffee chats, and building strong connections that can help support our career goals. But let's face it, reaching out often feels uncomfortable. You might find yourself rewriting that LinkedIn message dozens of times or sitting across from someone in a coffee chat wondering, am I asking the right questions? Am I making a good impression? And for many of us, networking in the MBA world isn't something that comes naturally. It's a skill that we have to continuously work on, often through trial and error. Today, we would like to break that process down into digestible pieces that go over approaching people with confidence, handling those challenging coffee chats, and making this process feel like less of a chore and more of an opportunity. By the end of this talk, our goal is for you to feel empowered to reach out, connect, and leave each conversation feeling like you're building real relationships. So, let's dive into our first step, finding your network.
There are so many ways to find your network. You can use job boards, career university platforms, or even a simple Google search. All of these are effective when paired with a tool like CareerOS, which not only helps you identify your network, but also it provides you with the email addresses of the people you want to reach out to. A fun fact, CareerOS was also introduced to the Rice network by a Rice alum. So now, once you've identified your network, the next big question is how to effectively reach out. And you want to craft a personalized message, you want to have it clear, purposeful, you want to highlight common grounds with the person you're reaching out to, and more importantly, you want to be flexible with time suggestions. As someone who's currently recruiting for investment banking, I got the opportunity to put this into practice over the past few weeks. So recently, I've reached out to over 100 of investment bankers who already have their inboxes overflowing with messages. And what's really worked for me is having my message really structured. For example, I'd say, hi, I recently spoke with X who mentioned your name, and I'd love the opportunity to have a 30 minutes coffee chat with you. Here are 3 different time slots on 3 different days. Please let me know if any of these would work for you. And by doing this, I made it super easy for them to respond to my message, and the results have been encouraging. And once you've logged that coffee chat and are about to meet this person, Michael will guide you on how to show up as your best self.
Networking is oftentimes hard to define success within. There's no grade sheet, there's no rubric on what really helps you know if you're doing a good job or not. But at the end of the day, networking is often just a conversation. And there are a number of things you can do before, during, and after that conversation to help drive success. The first thing is to be prepared. On Rice campus, there are a number of great avenues to practice. You have campus groups, you have clubs and hobbies that you can engage with, meet new people, and have conversations to help get your reps in. Because if you want to get good, you'll practice until you get it right. But if you want to be perfect, you practice until you can't get it wrong. But even with all the preparation, you have to maintain flexibility during that conversation. During one instance, I was going to a coffee chat, and I'd done the research, not just the position, who my interviewer was going to be, and also the company. However, none of the things that I thought we were going to talk about were the topics of conversation. What ended up happening was that we had a shared common interest in aviation. So instead of talking about my program management skills or being able to manage just-in-time inventory, we talked about the aerodynamic phenomenon of an F-86 Super Sabre in a power-on dive and how it affects the tail pylon once it goes through Mach tuck. Not something that's going to help me in my job or in that avenue. And by the way, I was not interviewing or trying to get a job with Lockheed Martin. So at the end of the day, it brings me to my last point. At the end of the day, I wasn't really able to talk about the things I wanted to talk about, but I had to have an optimistic mindset. I was able to make a human connection and talk about a common passion that helps drive success. So while we were not talking about the job, it was one breadcrumb that then generates momentum And Zui will now talk about how to use that momentum and follow up for future success.
So we're at the last step, follow-up. And for me, this step is very important. This step will help us to build and maintain our relationship with our network. There are 4 things we can do. Send a thank you note, a simple message, keep in touch, or sending a gift. I think most of the MBA students here have already done the first thing, which is send a thank you note. We will do this right after our coffee chats or right after another networking event. However, for the last 3 strategies, I think they are being neglected. For me, these strategies can help us to bring our relationship to the next level. Let's start with simple messages. A simple message means just a simple message. Means that you can send a message like, how are you doing today? Or how have you been? This message is short but very powerful. Let me give you an example. I have a friend who is studying in Vanderbilt right now, and he is really interested in investment banking. During his first semester, he always tried to keep a really good relationship with the people from Career Development Office. He often sent them messages like, how are you doing today? How have you been? And started his conversation from there. He created a very good relationship, which really helped him when he applied to an investment banking. One bank rejected him, but however, one person from Career Development Office used her relationship to convince the bank to give him a chance. And ultimately, he got an interview. That's how powerful it is. Keep in touch and send a gift. We can both combine these 2 things together or treat them separately. Keep in touch means that whenever you see something that reminds you about the person, you should tell them. You can even send a gift. You don't have to send a very big gift like an iPhone or a car. You just need a simple gift like a gift card or even writing a letter. To prove this is gonna work, I'm gonna share you a story about my girlfriend. She is currently a data scientist in her first company, and besides working well and performing well in her jobs, she also spent an enormous of her time to build her relationship with her manager. She would always remember the smallest detail about her managers, like what kind of restaurants she likes to go to, or what kind of place she likes to shopping with. And whenever she goes to the road and sees these things, that makes her to remind her about her managers. She will message her manager about that. On occasions like New Year's Eve or Thanksgiving or Christmas, she will also send her managers gift card or write a letter. Even though my girlfriend will switch to another division and have a new manager, she still keep doing the same thing to keep her relationship with her previous manager. This convinced her previous manager to write a recommendation letter to a new manager, which ultimately convinced him to sponsor her a green card. She became the first international student who got sponsored a green card without even getting an H-1B visa. So reaching out and performing well in the coffee chat is very important. However, keep building that relationship is also very important as well. So now you guys here may be even wondering, why do we bother to do all of this?
So while networking might feel daunting, there are many reasons why this is beneficial for you. You gain many relationships, and when we turn to our student body and ask them their key takeaway from the networking process at Rice, that was their #1 positive benefit. From these relationships, you're granted many opportunities, whether those relationships are strong or weak. Studies show as well that it's actually through those weak relationships where you have a higher chance of getting the job at the end of the day. In addition, through networking, you have the opportunity for increased knowledge and increased creativity from exposure to new ideas. Finally, networking can boost your self-confidence. The more you talk to people, the more you get to know about yourself, noting your own strengths and feeling more comfortable in your skin. In conclusion, networking can be made simple in just a few steps. First, it's about reaching out with the right message. Be purposeful and intentional. Understand that you're asking someone for something. Second, come prepared for that conversation. Be flexible and maintain a positive attitude. You might come to it wanting one thing and just understand that you have to go and it can go a completely different direction. Third, follow up effectively by actively thinking about the person you talk to. Be personalized with your thank you note. Send them a simple note noting your key takeaways from your conversation. And finally, enjoy your new relationships, your new network, your new opportunities, and new skills that come from the often challenging but plenty rewarding benefits of networking. Thank you.